Now would you look at this?
Hey, some snow.
Looks like January.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much on the ground,
little
but at
bit.
least in the air, it looks
little
like January.
It's funny, there's a friend of mine who owns a plow company, and they do landscaping too. But
Not a lot going
he
on.
said, I would love to see a snowfall map for just paved surfaces some days, like
Right, because
instances
it's not
like this.
piling up here.
Yeah, and I told him to get lost. But
It's not in your forecast
yeah,
right now. Not
sorry.
at all.
I said, the plow people pay special meteorologists for this.
To blow the snow away.
This kind of
All right.
information. But, it has been snowing, and the intensity is the key to whether or not it's able to stick on the pavement in a situation like this. And so we've got some light to moderate bands out there, but we really need to get into the beefier stuff here. These bands right here towards Wells, just offshore of Cape Elizabeth, that will drift into the mid-coast. Those will be more likely to produce snow that accumulates easily on the road. You just need a certain speed of snow to get that to stick, even though it is only about 30 degrees or so on the surface. 30 in Portland, 31 in Wiscasset, 28 in Augusta, 29 in Bangor. Not really much going on to the north, though. We knew that would be the case, and for the most part, it has been quiet and just cloudy with a couple of snow flurries possible there. So here's the snow working its way off to the north and east by later this afternoon. Keep in mind, of course, the sun's setting around 4. We're gaining, but still around 4. And so there'll be there'll still be some light snow after sunset, and then we'll move this system out of here pretty quickly tonight. A couple of flurries later on this evening, temperatures in the 20s. And then tomorrow is a mixture of sun and clouds. But, again, you have to view it through the lens of January, and to get into the upper 30s is pretty good, and we'll be able to do that in a lot of spots. Already hearing a lot of people, even in the newsroom here, talking about they're going to go skiing, and it actually looks much improved compared to the last couple of weeks. Temperatures there will be in the 20s in the mountains. And then a bright but cold day on Sunday. It'll feel pretty legitimately cold Sunday morning, and we only get to around freezing Sunday afternoon. And again, the mountains in the low 20s there, so it'll be a pretty brisk day in the mountains. So snowfall amounts here, 1 to 3 is still where we're at. I noticed Todd pulled this down. It makes sense because you can see the snow bands are really more over southern Maine and not even really getting much into Augusta at this point, certainly not into Bangor, where they'll see a coating to up to an inch. So there goes that system. I didn't even want to call it storm, but there goes that system. And then high pressure builds in over the weekend, gets a little chilly there on Sunday. We return to relatively mild conditions, though, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week and I am going to go down with this shift before we watch some storm develop around the 14th or 15th, because it's such a good pattern for it. Look at that little bowling ball of a low down here. Trough's going to suck it up in here. So we just have to see what that ends up actually looking like. Have you wondered where we are for snow this season? Portland will probably report some version of snow today. I don't know how much. Say they get an inch. Still way below average. Bangor 2. Caribou, they have a sneaky way of they just get their storms. Even when we're rain, they find a way to get those storms in there. Really nice stretch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe a PM flurry on Thursday. And look, I guess even Todd is on. We didn't even talk about this. Watching Friday. There's something out there late next week into the weekend. We'll just see if that something is going to be worthwhile or not.
You've been saying the middle of the month will be a decision point.
It's a lot like, you remember the windstorm. It's not going to be that. But remember the windstorm, I was like, there's something out there in that time period. Yeah. It wasn't something I was hoping for,
no,
though.
Sadly.
This one will more likely be an actual just snow event if that happens.
All right. We'll see what happens next week.
Yeah.
Keith, thanks so much.